Listen to your favorite shows live and on demand 24/7. Download the 77 WABC mobile app now.
Joined now by the legendary political maven Roger Stone, the best-dressed guy in the universe. Richard Nixon was his mentor. He spotted Donald Trump's presidential timber before just about anybody else. Roger Stone, thanks for being with us. Where are you?
Greg, I'm driving from Miami to Jacksonville to speak to a rally tonight for the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln. That would be Donald J. Trump.
That's fabulous. And you're not in a convertible, are you? It sounds like a great drive. We hear the wind. It sounds very pleasant. Hey, wait, there's a rally tonight in Jacksonville for Trump? He's going to be there?
No, this is an indigenous Florida rally put together by supporters here in the state, a number of conservative and Republican-leaning organizations. It's going to be a great night.
I love it.
Laura Loomer and I are speaking.
You know, Laura Loomer's been on this show a couple of times. I'm really impressed with her. She's amazing. She's, very, very aggressive and, but she's a truth teller and I love it. I love it that you guys are a team.
Yeah, no, I've told her she's got to quit mincing words. She's got to be a little more direct about how she feels, you know?
Folks, Roger, let me ask you something. And I said this on my show last night. And please talk me out of it if I'm worrying too much. I am worried about President Trump. I'm worried about his safety, number one. The rallies are giving me PTSD. I see him go out there. It's like the same image from Pennsylvania. I was wondering if he might benefit from doing what Richard Nixon did in 1968, and that's going before smaller groups of people, undecided voters, and talking to them directly. He has immense charm. He has immense compassion. I feel like he could show another side to himself that he doesn't show at the rallies. Is there any merit to my idea?
Well, there might be, but of course there's only one person who's going to make this decision, and that's Donald Trump. The fact that the Secret Service has suggested to him that he curtail his public rallies, that's like telling him not to breathe air. I mean, he loves people. He loves the crowd size. It is a good indicator of the size of this reform movement. And I don't think he's going to change his campaign style. I actually think his inability to do rallies because of the COVID-19 lockdowns were a key factor in the outcome of that race. So all we can really do is continue to pray for his protection, and I do that, believe me, every day. Like you, I saw Jesse Waters had a whistleblower from the FBI say it's only a matter of time before there's another assault on him. I'm also familiar with the big biblical references in Samuel 1, chapters 15 and 16, the story of the two kings, which seems to foretell this. If you consider Saul as the illegitimate king and David as the good king, well, Saul did try to kill David 3 times. I think there's an allegory there. I think God's telling us something there. So it's a legitimate concern, Greg, but I don't think he's going to change his style. At a minimum, he should do a combination of the kind of large events that are his trademark. But yes, I do think he needs to get before smaller groups because you're right. He's you find out he's very different than you think he is.
Yeah, so many people have been lied to about him, and it's, in a way, it's not changing his style. If it's a different audience, he'll naturally show another side to himself. Hey, Kamala Harris, I've been writing her off as a joke. I can't believe anybody takes her seriously. Maybe I'm too close to it because I've been chronicling her misadventures for 4 years. We need to take her seriously. How much do you think we should focus on her as opposed to the issues, or is it all one and the same?
Well, I think that we play into her hands. If people want to attack her as dumb or want to raise the issue of her sexual history, I think that's a gigantic mistake because then I think there are some women voters who will feel that she's just being attacked because she's a woman. I think that would backfire. I think we need absolutely to remain focused on her record as the border czar, which she tries to deny she was, but she was. She was responsible for border policy. We may have as many as 20 million illegals in this country, And it's a very, very dangerous situation. We have a crime epidemic. We have a fentanyl epidemic. We have fiscal problems caused by the fact that in many states, the government is required to pay for social services for illegals, even if it means cutting services for U.S. citizens. So she's responsible for the border crossings. This is the Biden-Harris administration. She has to wear the inflation rate. She has to wear the reckless foreign policy that's brought us to the brink of war in two different theaters, both in the Middle East and in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. She should not be allowed to walk away from those things. Now, I'm among those who doesn't criticize the president because she clearly has decided that she'll say that she's black when it is politically advantageous to her and say otherwise when it's not. She was bragging about being the first Indian American U.S. senator, but now suddenly she's identifying as black. I think that's race hustling. I'm against it. I think it's a bad idea. I think it speaks to her character.
How curious are you about the circumstances of Joe Biden's removal from this race? Two things. Number one, I have a theory. I said it out loud publicly that the Democrats put him on that stage because they knew he would self-implode, and therefore they could remove him from the ticket. They knew that would be the reaction and that he would be that bad. The second thing is when they actually pulled the trigger to make him step down, was it a 25th Amendment thing? Seymour Hersh said that Barack Obama called him up and threatened him with the 25th Amendment. So first, if you don't mind, what do you think of that idea that this was kind of a plot against Joe the whole time?
I think it is partially right. In other words, I believe that Biden, fully expected to run for re-election, did not want a debate with Trump. Therefore, he challenged Trump to a debate on CNN under extremely disadvantageous rules for Trump, confident that Trump would say no, and then Biden could then say, well, he said anywhere, anytime. I proposed CNN. He said no, that's it. There'll be no debates. Surprise, Donald Trump accepted. And Donald Trump operated within those rules, and he had a very, very solid debate. We saw Joe melt down. Now, I agree that Obama and other power brokers in their party were probably already telling Joe it was time to head for the exits, that he was going to have a hard time getting reelected. But Joe Biden is famously stubborn for those who know him. I have a friend who served in the U.S. Senate with him, says he's incredibly stubborn. And, of course, he really believes that he's the best qualified person in the country. He really believes he's doing a great job. So I think it had the effect of pushing him towards the exit. Whether they set him up in the debate knowing that he would fail, I'm not certain about that. It's possible. But then in the final analysis, there is no question. I think I had a source who told me on Friday that Joe would throw in the towel by releasing a letter Sunday afternoon. That same source told me that Obama orchestrated this, and in the end, yes, they had to privately threaten to remove him under the 25th Amendment, which, as you know, only requires the vice president and a majority of the cabinet, something Barack Obama could put together in one afternoon.
They also, I think, may have just shown him a piece of paper or just said something to him about, look, I know that Joe's compromised. I've seen the checks, $200,000, $40,000, money from China going to, Haley Biden and the rest. I think that he's got so much stuff on him. They just had to kind of vaguely even hint that they would open up that can of worms, and it probably scared him to death. Maybe we'll never know. All right. Hey, how about this? The Secret Service right now, they're giving the most bureaucratic, evasive press conference. I am so suspicious of them. You have said that the deep state, and I believe this, took out Richard Nixon, took out JFK. It looks to me like this is, quite frankly, nobody failed. Nobody is this incompetent. There had to be a deliberate kind of component to what happened. And, the Cheneys are so close to the Secret Service. Liz Cheney has bragged about that. She was talking to them before, during, and after January 6th. Agents she's known for 20 years. Sorry, but I think the Cheneys had something to do with the breakdown. And I'm almost done, Roger. It's like if you say Donald Trump is a clear and present danger to the Constitution, to American democracy, it's almost like they're convincing the swamp, the deep state, the Secret Service that they have a duty, an absolute sworn duty to remove that threat. I know it in my bones. I'm terrified of what could happen next.
Well, here's what we do know indisputably. The Secret Service, the Pennsylvania State Police, and local police knew that the man they say was the shooter was on the scene for 92 minutes. They had already seen him use a rangefinder. They knew he was armed, but they neither evacuated President Trump nor did they even tell President Trump. That's willful. That cannot be a mistake. Secondarily, we're told that the counter sniper had the gunman in his sights, but he waited until after he got out a volley of shots at Trump and, God rest his soul, Corey Comparatori, and two other people who were wounded, and then killed him, as opposed to following the protocol, which would have been to kill him in advance. He sees the guy lining up a shot and he doesn't kill him. I'm sorry, I just don't think that's a mistake. My greatest fear, and people will say I'm a conspiracy theorist, and that's fine, but I believe that the Secret Service, the CIA, other elements of government were complicit in the murder of JFK. My next book will prove that they were complicit in the attempted murder of President Ronald Reagan. And I think the same forces were at work in Butler, Pennsylvania. My real fear now is that in order to elevate Kamala Harris, to make her President Kamala Harris, to elevate her candidacy, make her the first woman president, that they will contemplate getting rid of poor old Joe. I hope I'm wrong about that. I don't wish that to happen. I'm not saying anything of the kind, but people who are willing to try to kill Trump are certainly capable of something like that.
Or maybe he just quits. Maybe he just says, you know what, but yeah, that nothing. He doesn't want to do that. Last, real quick, Roger, the best dressed man in the universe you are. Where do you think Donald Trump gets his suits?
Yeah, he used to be a Brioni man. He was strictly had his suits made in Brioni, but Brioni also had a space in Trump Tower. I think he buys American now. I think they're made privately by an American company. But it's basically the same broad-shouldered Brioni high armhole style that works extremely well for him. Look, he's one of those guys who understands the strength of uniform. You know, the solid blue shirt, the solid blue suit, the white shirt, the red power tie. Donald Trump invented the red power tie. It's a look that really, really works well for him. Yeah,
and you know what you're going to get. Hey, you know what no one has mentioned? I mean, the guy lost a weight. He looks. I saw him in person. I had a picture taken with him. Guess who's chubbier? Me. I mean, he looks fantastic, and I don't know how he did it, but good for him. Roger, it's a real pleasure talking to you. What time do you take the stage tonight?
So I think our event starts at 6:30. Of course, people can tune in at 77 WABC Sunday between 3 and 6 now. You get 3 solid hours of the Roger Stone Show.
That is awesome. 3 to 6 right here. Say hi to Laura Loomer for us. Nobody wants to get loomered. If you do, it's the end of your career. And fortunately, she's loomering all the right people. Roger Stone, thanks for being with us, pal.
Greg, God bless you. Many thanks.